So I'm a part of a church, and how much access should I have to the pastor of that church? And how much access should I have to the leaders and to the people and to the church in general? What should the church be doing for me? We're going to be discussing that in this video. Now, this is a part of a larger series called The Disciple. If you go to our channel, Bethel Pittsburgh, and go under playlist, you'll see a playlist listed called The Disciple. In that video series, we're walking through the ins and outs of how to follow Jesus Christ and how to grow in our faith and mature and have greater impact and to be in a stronger place with the Lord. And there are various categories to that. One of the categories is on church philosophy. How do we view different ins and outs and logistics as far as participating in the life of the church? Now, this is going to have some specifics to our specific church, Bethel, Assembly of God in Pittsburgh, but many of these principles will be applicable to any church that you're participating in. So what kind of access should I have to the pastor? We'll start with that. Exodus 18. In Exodus 18, we see Moses is leading the Israelites, a ton of people. They had escaped out of Egypt. They are now in the wilderness, and they're trying to establish a way of living. And in the process, Moses is leading everything. And his father-in-law shows up and observes what he's doing, and he sees that the way Moses is spending his time is every day he's getting up very early in the morning, and he's judging cases, conflict cases, from the very early part of the day all the way to the latest part of the evening. He's just judging cases. And the result is people are waiting in long lines, and many of them are not getting their needs addressed. And Moses is exhausted through this whole picture. And his father-in-law says to him, what you're doing isn't good. It's not good for you, and it's not good for the people. A better way to do this is to raise up leaders and create a team of people to coordinate the needs of the community and take care of things that way. And he had established in there, and Moses followed him up on that, and that's where you get the judges is out of that experience in Exodus 18. But in that, we get an established leadership principle of one person cannot be available to everybody all the time or to meet all the needs. It's not feasible, and it's not good for that person, and it's not good for anybody that's wanting that person to meet their needs. We also see, and actually we'll pause there for a second. So when you come to a church, and there's often just one pastor, but even if there's multiple pastors, it's because there's a lot more people and more needs in that regard. But our church in particular, we have roughly around 70 adults or so that we're servicing. And if I were to spend time on the phone or in person, whatever venue, time with each person each adult in our congregation every week, I would have less than 2 minutes. If I were to do a typical working week, less than 2 minutes for each of those individuals. Now, not all 70 are always asking for my attention, but if you just do the math, you know that it's not feasible for me to spend 2 minutes with everybody every week. It would be 4 minutes if it was every other week. It would be 8 minutes if it was once a month. You just do the math, and you'd be able to figure out how much time I would have available if everybody had need of me. Not to mention that I'm responsible for preparing and coordinating a message to preach every Sunday, the teaching on the Wednesday night discussion groups, the coordinating of the Sunday service, and the coordinating of the various ministries, as well as some other administrative responsibilities, developing the vision of the church, and then relational interactions and things of that nature, plus outreach and events. And there's just a lot of things to coordinate. So I don't have my full working schedule just to be available to people. And because of that, I have to be selective in the use of my time. That may result in a delayed response to a text message, taking a while to get back to a phone call, may involve me not being able to respond to a hospital request and things of that nature, just because there's only so much time. So practically in our church, if you want to connect with me, one, I ask that you would please have the understanding that I only have so much time for availability. Secondly, allow me to coordinate my schedule, though. So don't just say, well, he's too busy, so I'm not going to reach out to them. Reach out to me anytime. If you go to our church, odds are you have my cell phone number. And if you don't go to our church and you plan to come to our church, you'll end up with my cell phone number. And just text me or call me. If I don't answer, if I don't respond to the text, know that I have you in time and know that I am coordinating my own schedule. So if I am available at that time, I'll get right back to you. If I'm not, I'll get back to you later. But you don't need to coordinate my schedule for me. Just go ahead and reach out to me. Just understand, though, that I might be limited in how fast I can get back to you. Also know how to get me to respond. Phone calls just take more time than they do a text message. And when I get a phone call and a voicemail, I have no idea a lot of times how long that phone call is going to take. And so I have to estimate how long I think it might possibly take and overestimate, because once I'm on the phone, I'm not going to be able to get off until that whatever is needed is taken care of. So if I think this is possibly an hour thing and I don't have an hour, I can't respond to the phone call. But if I get a text message and I can see what's being asked and I know that I can give a responded answer real quick, then I can do that. And so you're going to typically get a faster response if you text me versus if you give me a phone call. But you will get a response. It's just going to take longer to get to that. So just know that if you want to get me faster, shoot me a text message. Also consider how we're defining things like emergency and urgent. So what you consider as an emergency or urgent might not be what is urgent or an emergency to me. For example, I need to know what time I'm supposed to be at this activity 2 weeks from now. Well, that's not a I have to answer today type question. Or I need to get into the church building right now, and that wasn't planned out. Well, I might not be available to rush over to the church to let a person in. And so just consider those things, and just consider I'm one person. I only have so much time. I cannot get to everything all the time. And again, don't let that keep you from contacting me, but just give me the text, leave the voicemail, send me the email, and then wait for the response, and I will get to you. But also, and again, this is where we turn back to Scripture. In Acts 6, the disciples realized that they were being hindered to do what they felt was their primary work as overseers, and that was the teaching of the Word of God, preaching and teaching, the promoting of theology and the development of theology within the church, and prayer. And I think prayer really was seeking God for direction for the church. And so that the two areas that an overseer, in this instance a pastor, is responsible for is teaching people how to follow the Lord and teaching them theology, as well as providing vision and direction, Spirit-led, to the congregation. Those are the primary responsibilities of a pastor. So I'm going to manage my time and my responsibilities that way. So I'm going to attempt to leave a good chunk of time for me to study the Word, prepare messages and teachings, um, figure out our direction and how to communicate that and coordinate the communication of those things. Some of that involves coordinating ministries. Some of that involves developing leaders to coordinate ministries. And that's where my focus will be predominantly, which means that people involved in ministry, especially people involved in leadership, are going to be interacting with me more often. And that's, again, back to that Exodus 18 model, as well as Acts 6, because they were raising up deacons to take care of some of the need stuff, while the apostles and the elders were focused on the oversight of the church. And it's good practical practices that are necessary to get in that direction. So, like I said, you have access to me if you're a part of our church. You have my cell phone number, but just realize that those are going to be the things that are there. And know that we have intentionally, even though we're working on making it clearer and clearer in our congregation, intentionally raised up different leaders to take care of certain responsibilities. So, for example, and these names are only going to be relevant if you're a part of our church, but if you're a guy and you're looking for some attention as a man, know that John O'Donnell is the coordinator of our men's ministry, and so you can always reach out to him. To when you can't get me, you can reach out to John. There are other leaders that you can as well, but he in particular. If you're looking for involvement in men's ministry, if you're looking for how do I help with, I want to get involved in ministry within the facilities and maintenance and repair and cleaning and those kind of things, John's the guy to contact. If you want to be involved in the social media ministry of the church, he's the guy to contact. So those are ways that you can get your information faster. If you reach out to me, I got all the other things I'm juggling that I have to resolve and find available time then to respond to the text message, which is again fine. Just know that I have all that there. John might be more readily available to answer questions on those kind of things. If you're a lady in the church, Cindy Jasinski coordinates our women's ministry, so feel free to reach out to her. If you want to be involved in one-to-one ministry, outreach, discipleship kind of areas, reach out to her. She'd be glad to get you involved. Because she coordinates one-to-one ministry, she also coordinates care to individuals in the church. And so if you're looking for that, Cindy is a good person to contact. As far as if you're wanting to figure out what do I do with my kids, my teenagers, and those kind of things, or you have some issue or challenge regarding those ministries, Habiba Uzman is the person to contact. Again, you can contact me. You're just probably going to get a faster response if you go directly to Habiba for those things. Or if you're looking for ministry to your children in general, that is the person to contact. If you need to use the building, if you want to use tables and chairs becomes a thing at times, or anything regarding use of the building or church info, when does this event happen, that event happen, the faster way to get information is to contact Bonnie. Now, some of you do have her cell phone, some of you do not have her cell phone number. But if not, then she doesn't give it out as freely as I do. Then just contact the church's main phone number, leave a message. She checks those messages at a certain frequency, and she will get back to you. So that's a way to get general church information. You can always check our website. Often the activities and events are posted there. You can check our Facebook page. You can, while at church, Sunday mornings, you can go to the welcome table and ask for information about different things. Wednesday nights, you'd have me available. Also, if you have prayer requests, prayer needs, those are things you can either Sunday morning come to seek out the prayer team as they come forward in the middle of the service to have them pray for you, or just know that Molly Healy is the one that coordinates the giving prayer requests out to a prayer team and having them pray for that, or if you want to be involved in praying for prayer requests, contact Molly Healy, and that's the way that you can get involved in those things. So being aware of the different people to point to and go to, we've tried to do the Exodus 18 approach, that we have different people that are taking care of different things, and we're all sharing the load to try to get these things taken care of more effectively. So think that through when you're involved and engaged in the church. Again, if you're part of another church, I encourage you to be understanding to that every individual, every group, and every organization has limitations as to what they can and cannot do, and just be understanding in regard to that. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you have any feedback on the information in this video, let me know. If not, if you live in the Pittsburgh area and you'd like to grow in your faith in person, we'd love for you to join us at Bethel Assembly of God, 2501 Staten Street, Wednesdays at 6:30 and Sundays at 10 a.m. God bless.